So how big can you make your water feature? There's some obvious limitations like budget, the size of your yard, but there's one other one that often gets overlooked. And it's not really about budget, it's not really about the size of your yard, because every water feature, whether it's a bubbling boulder or a fountain or a pond with a stream, has water that's moving through it. Specifically, it's water in motion. So if your reservoir is too small, when you fire up your pump, it's going to run dry. You've run out of water. Because you've got to fill this entire stream with water before it starts feeding back into the reservoir. And at the same time, if your reservoir is too small, when you turn off your pump, all of that water in your water feature is going to fill up your reservoir and overflow, causing some flooding. So what does water in motion mean? Well, it's quite literally the water moving through your stream all at once. And luckily we have a really easy calculation for figuring this out. We do the length of the feature times by the width times by 0.25, so on average a stream is about a quarter foot deep, 3 inches deep, times by 7.48 to get the gallons of the water that's in motion. So in this case, we've got a 35-foot stream. It's on average an inch and a half, a foot and a half wide. We got about 2 feet down at the bottom and more like a foot at the top here, times by 3 inches. Now keeping in mind this water feature is a little bit different because we have this pooling area down here, and that's about 12 inches deep. So we'd probably do a separate calculation for that, more of a pond calculation. But to keep it simple for the video, we'll just say that it's 3 inches deep all the way. And that gives us almost 100 gallons of water in motion. So that means our reservoir's got to be at least 200 gallons in size to make sure our pump doesn't run dry when we fire it up. Okay, here's what it looks like in real life. 12 small Aquablox gives us a 200-gallon reservoir. It's just slightly over that. Over here we've got our pump fault. Now if we were building this reservoir, that pump fault would get a little bit lower, recessed down than the Aquablox, so that this Aquablox here would sit right on the edge, and that keeps our pump always at our lowest point in the reservoir. Because if we take a look here, these guys aren't that tall. It's not a huge hole you have to dig, but as soon as we turn our pump on, we fill up our stream, that's where our water level is going to sit, halfway. So that's why we got to sink this pump fault down a little bit lower. But that's operating depth, and then when we turn the pump off, it'll come up to here. So it's a pretty big footprint, 65 by 81. But the really cool thing about these is that you can put 6,000 pounds of weight on top of an Aquablox once they're all locked in the hole. So we can pretty much do anything on top of them. We can wrap our geotextile over top and build a patio. We could build a garden on top. You could make even a water garden on top if we did bib liners. So you have lots of possibilities. Now, if you didn't have the room for all 12 of these, for whatever reason, you could always half the size of your reservoir by going with a large Aquablox, which is going to fit 32 gallons instead of the 17. So there you go. That's the size reservoir you need for a 35-foot stream, on average a foot and a half wide and 3 inches deep. And there you go. Now you all know all about water in motion. If you like what you saw here today, please give us a comment, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff for the sake of engagement. And look forward to the next one.